Hello and welcome back to Retirement Briefing. I'm really glad you're here with me today. I know many of you watch these updates quietly, sometimes late at night, sometimes early in the morning with a cup of coffee, just trying to stay informed and protect what you've worked your whole life for. So take a breath with me. Settle in, because what I'm about to explain is important, and it deserves to be explained calmly, clearly, and with respect for your time and your situation. Now, let's talk about why today's update matters so much, especially if you're living on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or another fixed retirement income. While most Americans were asleep, around 2 o'clock in the morning, something significant happened. There was no press conference, no cameras, no speeches, just a quiet confirmation that moved a major financial plan from speculation into reality. According to internal Treasury confirmations, the White House signed off on a revised structure for what's being called the $2,000 tariff dividend. This wasn't talk. This wasn't a promise. This was the moment it moved into execution. And when decisions happen quietly like this, it often means the systems behind the scenes are already prepared to act. Here's what this really means. Late-night decisions like this aren't about headlines. They're about action. And for seniors living on fixed incomes, timing like this carries real meaning. When policy moves quietly, it often moves faster. It faces fewer obstacles, and it can reach households sooner than highly publicized legislation that gets stuck in debate. What makes this confirmation unusual isn't just when it happened, but how it happened. The confirmation surfaced through Treasury channels, the kind used only after a decision has already been finalized. For older Americans who depend on Social Security, SSI or SSDI, that detail matters more than it may first appear. Now, let me explain something very important in simple terms. This program did not move through Congress the way traditional stimulus checks do. And that's not an accident. This tariff dividend is not funded by new government spending. It uses revenue that has already been collected from import tariffs. These are taxes paid on goods entering the United States, and that money is already sitting in federal accounts. Because the funds already exist, the authority to move forward rests largely with the U.S. Treasury Department. Once eligibility rules are finalized, Treasury does not need to wait for lengthy debates or new legislation. That's why this late-night confirmation carried so much weight. It was the green light. For seniors, this structural difference matters. Programs that don't rely on new bills tend to face fewer delays and less political gridlock. Many retirees already have their income, benefit status, and payment information on file with federal systems like Social Security and the IRS. That means eligibility can often be reviewed automatically, without applications, without forms, and without added stress. The system was already in place. What changed was how it would be used and who would be prioritized. Now let's talk about that priority, because this is where things shifted in a meaningful way for seniors. Early discussions about this tariff dividend focused mostly on working households and middle-income earners dealing with rising prices. Seniors were mentioned, but only as part of the general population. That changed quietly and very quickly. According to internal Treasury documents reviewed overnight, updated economic data revealed something officials could no longer ignore. Seniors living on fixed incomes were absorbing inflation far more intensely than previously estimated. Think about your own life for a moment. Food costs have gone up. Utilities keep climbing. Rent, property taxes, insurance, and medical expenses don't wait or slow down. But your income stays the same. Unlike working households, retirees don't have the option to work extra hours or ask for a raise when prices increase. That stability, which once felt like security, becomes a disadvantage during inflation. Once that reality was fully reflected in the data, seniors relying primarily on Social Security, SSI or SSDI, were moved into a higher priority category within the program. This wasn't symbolic. It directly affects how eligibility is reviewed and how quickly cases move forward. Another reason seniors moved closer to the front is verification. Federal agencies already have detailed records for retirees through systems like the Social Security Administration. That makes eligibility easier to confirm and reduces delays. Seniors weren't prioritized because they earn more. They were prioritized because they have less flexibility. Fixed income means fixed choices, and Treasury's revised framework finally reflects that. Many seniors are asking why this happened so suddenly, almost overnight. The answer lies in updated economic reports delivered to the White House just days before that 2A. Confirmation. Those reports showed a sharp rise in financial strain among older Americans, especially those receiving lower monthly Social Security benefits. Seniors living on roughly $1,300 a month or less were cutting back on essentials faster than any other group. For those closer to $1,100 a month, the pressure was even more severe. Rent, food, utilities, and medical costs were consuming nearly everything. Once those numbers were clear, officials were instructed to reassess how eligibility was prioritized. This wasn't about expanding the program. It was about redirecting it toward those most exposed to inflation. Seniors rose quickly to the top of that list, not because of politics, but because real households were falling behind in real time. Now, I want to be very clear about something else, because this causes confusion. This is not a traditional stimulus check. Traditional stimulus checks require Congress, funding approvals, and long timelines. This program works differently. Because it uses existing tariff revenue, Treasury can move directly into execution once eligibility rules are set. That's why it's moving faster. And for seniors, that simplicity matters. Most retirees already have verified records on file. That reduces paperwork and stress. After the late-night approval, Treasury quietly reorganized the payment process into priority tiers. And this is important. The system now weighs income stability and purchasing power, not just total earnings. Fixed income is treated as a risk factor. Seniors relying primarily on Social Security, SSI or SSDI fall into the highest priority tier because their income does not adjust when costs rise. That affects timing. Higher tier cases are reviewed first with fewer delays. Many of you are asking the most practical question of all. Do I fall into this group? While exact thresholds aren't published publicly, internal guidance shows households earning under roughly $30,000 per year are stronger candidates for early review, especially when that income comes primarily from Social Security benefits. Monthly benchmarks mattered too. Seniors receiving under $1,300 a month, and especially under $1,100, were flagged as facing immediate strain. And here's something important. Not having employment income does not hurt you. Not filing recent tax returns does not automatically disqualify you. In many cases, a single stable benefit source actually makes verification easier. Now let's address one of the biggest concerns I hear from viewers. Do you need to apply? For most seniors, the answer is no. There is no application required. Eligibility reviews are being handled automatically using information already on file with the Social Security Administration and the IRS. However, if you've recently moved, changed banks, or updated your direct deposit, you may need to confirm that information. Legitimate notices will come through official IRS or My Social Security portals. And let me say this clearly. No federal agency will call, text, or email asking for personal information about this payment. Any such request is a scam. What about timing? Treasury hasn't released official payment dates yet. But here's what we know. Seniors in the highest priority tier are reviewed first. Eligibility confirmation comes before payment. Some retirees may see quiet account updates or notices before any public announcement. That's normal. Silence does not mean nothing is happening. Another big concern is whether this payment affects your benefits. According to Treasury guidance, it does not. This payment is not treated as earned or unearned income. It does not reduce Social Security, SSI, or SSDI. It does not affect COLA adjustments. For SSI recipients, it does not count as income for eligibility purposes. One practical note is that holding a large balance for an extended period could affect certain asset-based programs, so using the funds for essential needs is advised. So what should you do right now? Make sure your information is accurate. Check your mailing address and direct deposit details if you're able. Stay cautious. Avoid misinformation. You do not need to panic, apply, or call agencies. Being informed and attentive is enough. This program feels different because it is different. Vulnerability was measured more accurately. Fixed income was treated as a risk, not ignored. Seniors weren't added at the end. They were moved forward. And while this doesn't solve every challenge, it represents recognition. That matters. As we look ahead, this approach may influence future programs. Fixed-income households were finally evaluated based on lived reality. Expenses don't wait, and checks don't stretch. Recognizing that is a meaningful step. As this moves forward, expect quiet progress rather than loud headlines. Some seniors may see updates before others. Patience matters. Rely on official sources. And remember, being near the front of the process is a change many retirees haven't seen before. When you step back, this quiet 2A decision wasn't just about money. It was about how seniors are seen. Many of you planned carefully, avoided debt, and still felt squeezed as costs rose. This decision acknowledged that reality. And sometimes, quiet decisions make the biggest difference. If this explanation helped you feel a little more confident and a little less uncertain, then I'm glad. That's why Retirement Briefing exists. If you found this helpful, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned to Retirement Briefing for clear, calm updates you can trust. And until next time, take care of yourself, stay informed, and know that you're not alone.